Let me show you a simple, inexpensive technique I use to water my plants that are in remote locations on my farm. We're going to use a 5-gallon bucket and some 1/4-inch landscape tubing. Not only does this technique allow you to get water to remote sections of your property, but if you use a valve, you could also shut it on and off or control the rate of flow. You're going to need a 5-gallon bucket, a roll or some lengths of 1/4-inch landscape tubing, a bag of ends for the tubing, and a bag of valves. You can get all this stuff at your local garden center, Home Depot, Lowe's, your local landscaping supply company. For tools, you'll need a drill with a 5/32 inch bit and either a little Leatherman or needle nose pliers. Step 1, we got to take our little connector and get it into our 1/4-inch hose. I like to lube it up before I stick it in. You want to make sure you get it in all the way to the top because we want this to be watertight. Step 2 is to install the valve. So the first thing you want to do is cut about 2 or 3 inches of hose and put it on one side of the valve, just like I did with the connector. Then take the valve and put it also into the hose. And again, you want to make sure it's ran all the way to the stopper. Now we're going to drill our hole. So again, 5/32 inch bit, and you want to go as close to the bottom of the bucket as possible. If you drill the hole up here, all the water that's below the hole ain't going to come out. So you want to go as close to the bottom as you're comfortable doing. Just drill the hole. And then once I get the hole drilled, I kind of go in and out and widen it just a little bit and clean it up. Like that there, so I have a nice clean hole. Next, we're going to put the connector into the hole. That takes some muscles. I don't know if you heard that little pop, that little click, but once that goes in, this is surprisingly watertight. And there you have it. There's your drip system. You've got a source of water, you've got a hose, and you have a valve to turn the water off, turn the water on, or restrict the flow. You'll note when you go to the store and you go to buy the valve, and if you can't read it for yourself, you can ask one of the employees. The valve will tell you the flow rate. This valve is 1 gallon per hour. So if I fill this bucket all the way to the top, this water will drip for 5 hours onto my plant. So next, all you do is fill the bucket. And me, I could bring the water out here because I have my John boat, and I just bring it out and fill the bucket with me. But you could just fill that in your sink or with a hose at your house. And just remember, I think a gallon of water weighs about 8 pounds or so. So if you fill that up all the way, that's going to be 40 pounds of water. So if you're, if you're not that strong and you're maybe toting this out to your balcony or your patio, run it out empty and just run it out maybe 5 trips with a 1-gallon jug. Because like I say, 5 gallons of water is pretty heavy. Now when you place your bucket, you want it to be at least level with what you're watering, or preferably a little bit higher. It doesn't matter if it's 1 centimeter higher or 2 feet higher. Gravity's gravity, and water is going to go from high to low. So the main thing you want to watch for is that you don't get a kink in your hose and your hose goes up like this, because whatever the highest spot in your hose is, that's the equal amount of water that's going to drain out of this bucket. So I try to have mine flat. Then I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it on to full blast. Now see, this is above the bucket, so it's not coming out. But as soon as I put it lower than the bucket, lower than the surface of the water, water starts to come out. And I'm just going to set it right here next to the trunk. And this tree is getting water. And he's going to get a drink for the next 5 hours. And he's going to get 5 gallons of water. Now you might ask, why would one need a system like this? Why not just spray with a hose? Why not just put some sprinklers in? Well, that's not always possible. You might live on a 3rd floor balcony. You might have a little terrace. You might live somewhere where you're not allowed to run a hose. You're not allowed to have sprinklers. You might have a big backyard with a lot of irrigation coverage, but you got some dead spots that you want to use up. You may be growing something that's perfectly legal in the state you live in, but perhaps it's still illegal at the federal level. Or in my case, I got a few brand new little trees like this guy right here. Their root system hasn't had a chance to spread out yet. You see, the rest of my grove, if I don't irrigate it, they're fine. But some of these seedlings need water. And right now, my pump is broken. I can't irrigate my grove, which, like I said, no big deal for everything else. But for the new stuff, I gotta get water out to these guys. And this is way too far to run a hose. And if I just tote a bunch of water out here and dump it all at once, like say I take this 5 gallons and dump it all at once, more water is just gonna drain and run off or evaporate than it's gonna get to the tree. But if I run it off a drip system at 1 gallon an hour, more of that water gonna get to my tree. This is an established mature grove, and an established mature grove doesn't need much irrigation at all. You can get through a season. There's a lot of avocado farmers here, depending on their location of their farm, they don't even have irrigation because they don't need it. And look at these trees. I mean, these trees are already loaded with avocados. And speaking of beautiful, healthy avocados, if you'd like to buy a box of Sleepy Lizard avocados, go to guacfarm.com. GUACFARM.com. We sell our avocados there. We've got our other tropical fruit, mango, mamey, sapodilla, monstera deliciosa. We sell these baseball hats. We sell our Sleepy Lizard t-shirts. And we've got a lot of repeat customers, which means we have a lot of satisfied customers, which means if you buy from us, you're likely to be a satisfied customer also. Me, I got 2 more of those little irrigation systems to make. So while I go do that, you go to guacfarm.com, and I will see you on the next video.